Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm taking part in the Traci Reed YouTube hop for Your Story Matters. There is a list of all the participants in the description box below, and if you would like to purchase this absolutely gorgeous collection from Traci, it's available from her website. There's a link below for that as well, and it's also on offer this weekend. I thought I'd do something different this month with this collection, and I'm going to make some embellishment clusters. So I've printed off some of the 6x4 cards horizontally. I've got some of the 3x4 cards vertically, actually all of them, and the 3x4 cards horizontally. I've got a load of the embellishments. I love these typewriters. These typewriters are my favourite thing of the whole collection, apart from this camera, which I absolutely adore as well. There's just so many lovely icons in this, so I'm going to use the icons. And then I've also grabbed out of my stash a die. Traci's got one of these. Oh, let me just show you. I think I've got it in this collection here. Oh, there we go. That's one of the embellishments, and I've actually got a die which is very similar, so I'm going to use that die as the main part of the cluster. And then I pulled out a big die because I want the big heart from in there. There are hearts in Traci's collection as well. Let me just show you those, which are gorgeous. My silhouette didn't cut them out brilliantly, but they are lovely. I need to trim those a bit, but there are some lovely hearts in her collection. So I thought I'd use the heart, I'd use the viewfinder reel, the cards, and then I've also pulled out some buttons to just add some extra texture, and I may use some of this tulle that I've got as well. So what I'm going to do now is pop you on fast forward, just to say I'm sorry if you can hear any other noise in the background. I've got work happening in my garden at the moment. My husband's building a wall just outside the window, and we've got builders in at the far end of the garden putting a new path in, so there's a cement mixer going, they've got their radio on. So hopefully that's not interfering too much, and I'll do the rest of this as a voiceover, so there'll be no more interruptions. But for now, here we go, let's fast forward. So first thing I'm going to do is just go through the 3x4 pattern cards to choose a couple to go for each embellishment cluster. So I want one for the viewfinder reel and one for the heart, and then I was going to choose the pattern paper to go on the back behind the viewfinder reel, but the pattern looked a bit too much, so I went with one of the solids from the paper pack, and I actually use that as a solid behind each of the viewfinder reels in the 4 embellishment clusters that I make. So as you can see here, I've cut the viewfinder reel, I've cut the circle, I fortunately had a die the same size as the viewfinder reel, and I've cut the heart. And now what I want to do is create a banner to go across the heart and the viewfinder reel. So I'm cutting a strip of one of the 6x4 cards, and then I'm going to fold that and then refold it so that it's actually facing the right way, and then put some machine stitching across it. This is what I like about making these embellishment clusters, is that you can just use the 6x4 and the 3x4 cards. They're absolutely perfect for doing something like this. So here you can see I've machine stitched, and as I go to trim off the cottons at the end, I cut my finger. So we pause for a minute and I put a plaster on my finger, and I'm fine. Favour that finger a bit, and I've got a little nick in it still, but never mind. So now I'm going through the stickers from the sticker pack to decide which one I want on this cluster, and chose this camera, which I really liked. And then I also want to add in something else just above there, and I choose this little word piece which I think says "Our Story Matters" or "This Story Matters." You'll probably be able to see it better on the actual video as you're watching this. So then it's the case of building up the cluster. So I start by sticking down the viewfinder reel onto the background using some wet glue, my Nuvo glue, and then the same with the heart. And I decided to bump up the banner with some foam tape, and then also bump up the camera with some foam tape, although as it rests on top of the banner I don't need to put foam tape over the whole of the camera, just over some of it. So stick that down, and then I'll pop the word piece in behind the camera. You see me just putting some glue on the camera there. I've got ahead of myself here. And then pop the word piece on with some wet glue as well. Wanted a few finishing touches on this, so I'm going to go into my, into the buttons selection which I had here, try them all and decide that they're all a bit too bulky. So I picked out some enamel hearts from my stash and decided to use those, and just stuck those on. They were the perfect colour, and I've had those in my stash for a while. And there we are, there is my first cluster completed. So having created one, my finger, I'm going to make 3 or 4 more. So I thought what I'd do next is just choose the background paper, the paper for the viewfinder reel, and the paper for the heart, and then so I'll choose those with you, then I'll go off and cut them, and then we'll put them all together again in a moment. So here I am, just making the piles. I had thought about making 5 embellishment clusters, but decided just to go with the 4 because I know that I'll definitely use 4, and I don't want to be left with bits and pieces which are hanging around. My aim this year is to try and use up my kits as I print them out, so that if I need more I can print extras out, but I don't want to be left with little bits of kits lying around on my desk which don't get used. So I'm going to try and kill a kit basically each time Traci releases a kit. I'm just going to be printing off what I think I'm going to use, and then killing that kit. Although as you can see here, I've printed off all the 3x4 cards, which is quite a lot to use, but I will get around to using them. I'm determined to. I'll make something or other with them. Even if I end up using them in my junk journal or whatever, I am going to use them. But here you can see I'm making 2 piles, one for the hearts and one for the viewfinder reels. And just checking through to make sure I don't want to change my mind about any of these. I had thought about using the pencils because I had something in mind, but I don't end up using those for one of the banners. So that's something I'm going to use on another layout at some point. So just folding up the last of the banner pieces here, and then I take them all across to the sewing machine and sew them. The larger one that's on my desk there, that's my trial one, which I then copy how the folds are to get them right. So having stitched the banners, I'm putting each of the embellishment clusters together. And I want to use some of that tulle, so I grabbed some of that and just ruffled it up, and then decided to grab my stapler to attach that to the viewfinder reel, because you won't see that because it's going to be behind the heart. It was quite bulky then, so also use the stapler to attach the heart on as well. It gives a lovely lot of dimension. I've actually used this one now on a layout and I love how it looks. Really pleased with that. So didn't use any foam tape on the banner there because it would have just put too much dimension onto that cluster. So having printed out, done print and cut for all of these for doing layouts, I've decided they're a bit too big for making these embellishment clusters. And that is the great thing about digital, because I've just been over to my computer and printed and then cut a load more at different sizes to get the right size for these embellishments. I do need a new blade, so it's chewed up that, but we have a whole new selection of tiny word strips and the embellishments that I like, so I can now go ahead and put these together. Okay, so I've chosen what bits I'm going to put with each one. That's the one I've already completed, but I do want to add a little bit more to that one. So I'm now going to layer these up a bit more than I did that one. Added some more bits and pieces. So I'm now going to stick all these down, and then we'll come back with the finishing touches. So that's all 4 of them. I think I'm just going to leave it at 4 because then I know I'll definitely use them. So that's the 4 of them all made. This one's got a lot of dimension to it with the tulle with it. Now what I thought I'd do, just got glue on that one, is I've got some gems and I want to just zhoosh some of these up a bit. So this is a lovely big gem there, which I thought I could put in the middle of that one there. So that's got a couple of enamel hearts, but it's now got that lovely big gem in the middle for the view lens. Right, and then add a few gems and bits to these. So that is also the lens, but I don't think I'll do it. I think what I'll do is just add a few of these smaller gems just dotted around. This yellow one, I've got these yellow gems, so I thought I might use some of them. The small ones, I think, is what we need here. Oh, I admire people who can use tweezers to place gems. I cannot do that, but I just fumble, but I fumble anyway. So there we go. There we are. And then on this pink one, sorry about that noise, I got all those buttons out, but none of them were really suitable. I didn't really like any of them. I'm just wondering what to do on this one. I think I'll just put some of the clear gems on again. I'm trying to use up some of these clear gems that I've got on different packs. Oh, that's nice, it just peeks through behind the tulle there. And I think we'll pop another one, do the same thing, just pop it there so it's just sneaking past. Okay, so that's my 4 embellishment clusters made, and you'll hopefully see these on some of the layouts I'll be doing for the release, probably at least one on the Instagram hop that I'm doing. And obviously this is the YouTube hop for Traci Reed's new collection, Our Story Matters. Please do join in the hop. The list of all the participants are in the description box below, and if you'd like to purchase the kit, as I said at the beginning, it's on sale this weekend over on Traci's website, and there's a link to that in the description box below as well. If you want a closer look at these embellishment clusters, they will be up on my Instagram, which is Becky Insta Creative, but what I will do is just pick each of them up and just show you a little close-up of each of them. I love these. These have come out really well. I'm really happy with these. I love all the different textures on there that you've got with the stitching, and especially the one with the tulle. That was obviously the first one I did, which is always a bit of an experiment when you do your first one. This is my favourite, definitely my favourite. This one I'm going to be using straight away, I think. And then this one with the typewriter on, because I love the typewriters in this collection. Really love that. And I've got to do a layout about my daughter at her open mic night when she read some stories, so I think that's going to go onto that layout. Anyway, what I'm now going to do, just to end up this video differently, is I'm going to lift you down and I'm just going to show you the mess that is my desk, having finished this creation. So as you can see, there is mess everywhere, bits on the floor, I've got boxes out, it's just everywhere. I thought I'd just finish off showing you, and that's down the garden where they're doing my building, doing my path. Anyway, that is it for today. So back to my embellishment clusters. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't subscribe, I'd appreciate it if you would. If you want to leave a comment, I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.